Hello, Virgo. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. I don't know why, but this seems like it's a little cockeyed. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just imagining it. All right. Anyway, thank you, Virgo, for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Cosmic Slumber Tarot by Tilly Walden. There's Tilly's name. Website on the bottom here is liminal11.com. Feel free to check that out if you want. Who knows what else is on there? I haven't checked it out. But who knows? Someday I might. I haven't checked out this website either. Energy Oracle Cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. I don't recall going on it. Maybe I have, but I should check it out. I think if you do hayhouse.com, you'll get the main website, but you'll see hayhouseradio.com there. If you go to hayhouseradio.com, I'm assuming there's links to the main website. But if you look for Sandra Ann Taylor and Energy Oracle Cards, you should find something of value if you're looking for such things. Okay, what do we have for Virgo? I had two cards fall out face down, one from the tarot deck and one from the oracle deck. So we have to see how they add in afterwards. They're face down. I got a double card. That's interesting. It's not bad. It just kind of shocked me. It's a new deck, or it's a new to me deck anyway. And I already have a double one, which is interesting. What are we dealing with here? Is this coming in or going out? Something is changing. For you, it's a restart. I think I read this in the book, and it just keeps playing in my mind how the morning is kind of like a chance to start a new day. And it's almost like a restart in this situation. It's kind of like I have all this ahead of me, but it's almost like you have the knowledge, kind of like I've gone down this road many times, and I could keep doing it the way I have been, but if there's things here I don't like, I can start looking at possibilities and start exploring information and maybe start changing it a little bit here and a little bit there to a way that's more palatable for what I want. Especially for Virgo, it doesn't mean you have to have big changes, but maybe I'm just going to start doing some smaller changes. It's almost like maybe I'll start getting up 15 minutes earlier. Maybe I'll start getting to work 15 minutes earlier, and I'll get all my stuff together a little quicker just for me. That way I can get a jump on the day and get ahead of things. Take that with a grain of salt. This could be something where, I'm going to start dealing with certain people differently. I'm going to watch how other people deal with certain people. Maybe there's people you have difficulty in your life with, and you're like, I don't seem to have very much success with them. But then I start watching whoever other people deal with this person, and are they successful? Are they not? Do they have less success than me or more success than me? What do they do different than I do? How do they relate to this person? Stuff like that. I feel like it's like a new day, kind of like I'm just going to pay attention a little differently. It's not that you don't pay attention. It's just like looking at things differently to absorb other information to make things a little bit better for you. Because I know Virgo is pretty astute. You guys pay attention. You do what you need to do. But this might be a wake-up call, kind of like, yeah, you're paying attention, and you are staying connected, and you're doing what you need to do. But maybe there's a different way to kind of absorb information, a different way to look at things, maybe a little brainstorming moment and like, what else is going on here? How are other people doing things? This is a great way to learn things. Watching how other people do it, and it's kind of like, well, they do it differently, but that's not my way, but still kind of like, let me see how they succeed. Is there a different way for me to get to that type of success? And just giving yourself a minute to just kind of mull it over. We don't need 5-second fixes. We're looking for, long-term fixes. But, looking at the information, looking how things work out. What do we have here? What do we have in front of us? There's something here that's changing. I get it. But the thing is, it's kind of like we need to change. The situation is changing, but we need to kind of roll with the change. The danger here is the Devil card. The thing is for this one could be tricky for you. Because the Devil card talks about earth energy. Virgo's earth energy. My nose is itching right in this one spot, like crazy all of a sudden. Um, it can be very seductive and easy to not change. It's very easy to not change here. Thing is, if you go with that, things don't improve. You could have better hair, you could have more hair, things could go much more to your liking. It's easier not to, but the outcome is less, if that makes sense. The thing is, if you don't change, you're not going to know the difference. So it's kind of like if you don't change, you're not going to realize what you missed out on. If you do change, you're going to realize, you know what, this change worked to my benefit. The thing is, you do have the ability to change on your terms at your rate as you see fit. As long as you kind of keep looking at things in a different way, try to slowly change things in a way you're comfortable and keep working in that direction. Virgo reminds me of like, this might look like a mountain, but once I start working on it, I get used to it, and before I knew it, I overcame the mountain. I just got so used to it. I got so ingrained in the process. I did it for a couple years just for argument's sake. I just accepted this was the process, and then next thing I know, I got past the mountain I never thought I could overcome. Virgo, I feel like Virgo does this. When Virgo decides to deal with something, like for example, maybe it's like 6 to 8 years in college, and it's kind of like, oh, that seems like a lot. But, and maybe you're looking at this kind of like, well, maybe I want a 4-year degree, but it's going to take me 8 to 9 years because I have to do it part-time. It's like, oh, that's quite the mountain. That's quite a long amount of time. A whole decade might pass before I actually get it, or almost a decade. But once Virgo gets into it, and like, I'm going to do this on my terms, I'm going to do as much as I need, I'm going to set up my schedule, I'm going to do what I need to do, I get used to doing it, I make it a part of my life where this is how I'm doing it, this is how I'm doing it, I get through it this way, and I just get used to doing it. Before you know it, that time has passed and you got your reward. Virgo gets very comfortable and used to putting in the effort, especially when you see the long-term goal, if the long-term goal is worth it for you. But yeah, long-term goals, worth it. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not for Virgo. Let me know in the comments. Like, instead of taking 4 years, taking 8 to 9. I like, for me as a Pisces, I'm just like, oh, I'm like, oh. But for Virgo, I feel like if I see the benefit, if I see I can do it, and it's like when I get there, I'll be thankful. Like, I'll look back 10 years from now and I'll be like, I'm so thankful I did that because it upgraded everything for me and life got so much better. I put in the effort. I did it a way I could do it. And it's great for me. I feel like this works for Virgo. Let me know. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. Because I feel like once you start working towards your goal, you don't let it go. It's just committing yourself. Yeah, it's going to be a long road, but I'm chopping it up in a way that I can easily deal with it. I can handle, half a class load every semester, and I can succeed with that, and it's not going to overwhelm me, and I'm going to get where I need to go. Instead of beating myself to death trying to do a full class load, plus a full-time job, plus probably family duties and whatever else you got going on in your life. If I do half a class load, I can do that, and it's not going to wipe me out. If I do a full class load, it is going to wipe me out. So doing it slow but sure, you're not going to let go. Once you start, you won't look back. I feel like once you start, you're like, no, that's my goal. I didn't get this far just to give up. Yeah, I see a couple cards here where, like, once you start, you're not going to back down. The Nine of Wands also. You're not going to back down once you commit to it. This is a change you can make. So I know I'm giving different analogies, but whatever the long-term goal is, once you start working towards it, you're not going to give up. I keep feeling that. This is interesting. So you're definitely going to have structure. At first I saw the Temperance upside down and I'm like, is that supposed to be upside down? And I got definitely. Definitely, because you do things different. Different than Temperance. Temperance is an energy that keeps moving, but the way I see Temperance, it does a little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit, but it's random. It's constantly moving, constantly going here, constantly going there. It keeps itself distracted, keeps itself busy, and it kind of does a lot. Right side up, it also talks about Sagittarius energy. That's one of the things that kind of clicks in my mind. That's a different energy than you. When I see it upside down, I'm kind of like, we're not going randomly. We're creating a structure. We're sticking to a structure. Especially for Virgo, if this really hits for you, I'm almost like, all right, whatever, how many classes you got, whatever. If we're going to use that analogy, I have certain times, carved out in the week that I'm going to work on this. I'm going to do this work for that class. I'm going to do this work for that class. I feel like I'm carving out more than enough time to get any assignments done, and any extra time I have, I'm using to study and reiterate what I've already learned to make sure, like, not only do I pass this course, but I know it as well as I can, so that way when I go into the next set of classes in the next semester, I got all this stuff locked down. Like, I know this stuff. And the more I know the stuff I'm learning now, the easier it is to learn the stuff I need to learn tomorrow. It kind of reminds me of math. I've heard this a long time ago, and I very much believe it. I don't know why, but for some reason math is easy for people in my family usually. Not everybody in my family, but for a lot of us. Must be the way the brain works. I don't know. But when you learn the lessons in order for math, and you get them down and you know what you're doing, like you learn part 1, 2, and 3, and you know them, it makes learning 4, 5, and 6 that much easier. And then before you go on to the next, 7, 8, 9, you got to make sure you know the first 6 is the best you can. It makes learning the next 3 that much easier. And I feel that's how you're going to do this. You're going to reinforce what you already know. You're going to make this work out the best you can. It's almost like, but I feel like the temperance upside down is saying you're going to create a schedule, and you got to stick to that schedule. Don't let other people mess with your schedule. So this might be a thing where for some of you who you have like a family that's very busy, what time of day is most likely not going to get run over by other people? Because especially if you're a person who has the responsibilities taking care of others, sticking to a schedule might be a luxury that might be a little bit more difficult, but maybe there's a way to do it. For example, if everybody gets up at 6:30 in the morning, and you start getting up at 5 to do whatever you need to do, that from 5 to 6:30, like 5, you get up at 5, you give yourself a half hour to wake up, and that 1 hour from 5:30 to 6:30, you do what you need to do. That's your time. That might be one spot. Other people, I know I've done it before, where like at work, I take my lunch hour, I would go into my car, or I'd find a place to be by myself, wherever that was, and that's where I would get certain work done that I could. Sometimes I would go shopping for like household items during lunchtime. I would use my breaks and lunch together. Well, did they allow that? I think I did it, but I don't know if I was supposed to, but I did it. I would find times during the day. Sometimes, like on the way home, if there was something going on, if I was on my way to an event, I would try to make sure that I could get there like a half hour late, whatever that was, or like I would stop somewhere and I would do what I need to do, and I would just carve out the time, and I would just be like, all right, I would put my phone off and I would just do what I wanted to do. I'd find a place to park and I'd do what I wanted to do, so people couldn't bother me. They weren't around me. So I'd create a space. I'd create a time to where people wouldn't have access to me, or hopefully wouldn't have access to me, to get done what I needed to do. And that's kind of how they're saying, if you're going to set up the structure, try to do that. Try to set it up in a way where you can secure this time, you can make this yours, and it's more difficult for people to encroach on it. You got great things coming in. There's also this coming forward. You might get unexpected help. You might get unexpected reinforcement. Take it with a grain of salt. See what you got around you, because I feel like you got unexpected support in this situation. The Empress and the Three of Pentacles. I feel like when I see the Empress coming in, it almost feels like another person who sees the value in what you're doing and wants you to succeed. Somebody seems like, don't get caught up in the gender, but I feel like there's another person that's kind of like, hey, you know what, Virgo, I like what you're doing. I think that's pretty awesome. I think that we need to do our best to help you with that so you can attain that goal, because we want you to attain that goal. I know it's a long-term goal, but we want you to have it. We definitely want to support that. So other people might help you secure your time, or back up things. For example, if you're doing the college thing and you're doing half a class load per semester, I'm just going to randomly have accents here. You might get the funding unexpected. You might get more funding that you weren't expecting. You might get somebody helping you out, like taking some responsibilities off your plate. There's unexpected help coming forward. When you start moving forward, I just feel like things start to go in place. It's almost like the universe is saying, you're doing great. Let's see what we can do to help you out. We're going to try to push things towards you to make this easier for you. Add it in as it works. Because I'm getting like some responsibilities seem to be moving away a little bit, but in a positive way. Like either other people are taking them on, or some things are becoming more self-sufficient, or maybe there's certain things that are not necessary. Whatever that means. So it's almost like I see some things like maybe you garden and you're kind of like bringing that down to half the amount of the gardening, or somebody else is doing half the gardening for you. Opportunities are coming in. You might find things that are just like, it's going to get easier as you keep going, because you're going to find better ways to do things. And I feel people want to help you set this up. Once you start moving forward too, I feel like, again, other people start to, this is in the environment, other people seem to understand like this is for the best. They feel like what you're doing is not only good for you, but good for everybody. They feel like the movements you're moving forward with, people want to support, because they're like, you're leaving something in the past, you're changing the situation. The way you're changing, it's not something that can be undone. It's like mixing eggs into a cake batter. Once they're mixed in, you can't unmix them. And that's kind of how they're viewing it, at least. You got a lot of support. It's very interesting with this card showing up here, because I feel like it's, other people are looking like once you started, there's no going back the other direction. Once you've started something, you're success bound. Let's just, where am I base? You got the Fool, the Tower, and the Princess of Cups. I feel like somebody's not expecting you to do this. How does this lay in here? The support, I do see it coming in, but I don't see it coming in right away, just in case I said that incorrectly. It does show up later on. Because I feel like at first, for some reason, I don't feel like you get the support at first. The Tower card coming in, and then I got like the Wheel of Fortune, and then the Seven of Fire. I don't see people really backing you up at first. So, for example, if we're going to use that going to college thing, you might get through a semester, maybe a semester and a half, before that really people start to really back you up. So just in the analogy, if this was going to take 8 to 9 years, you might go through almost, not quite a year, but like, a semester is what is that, like 4? Is that 4? Is that 4 months? So you might go through 6 to 8 months before people start to back you up. If it's something long-term, like just use it in comparison. If you're going to do this for 9 years, you might have 6 to 8 months before you really start seeing that back up. But once you start getting it, I feel like this makes it a lot easier for you. I also feel like the confidence other people have in me really boosts my energy. It makes it easier for me to stay on plan because people are trying to help me. They have to see it for their own. I feel like once this kicks in, I feel like it's smooth sailing, because once you've put in your dedication, once you've put in your process, it just feels like I've accepted it. Once you've accepted this is going to take some time, it doesn't feel like it's hard for you. Like you put in that effort, you're expecting the effort, so you just do what you need to do. It feels like smooth sailing. I don't know if that sounds crazy, but it does feel like smooth sailing. That wouldn't be the feeling that way for everybody. But it's kind of like, yeah, it's hard work, but like once I've accepted it, it doesn't bother me the same. I hope that makes sense. Like it's still, you're putting in a lot of effort, you're putting in a lot to make it happen, but once I have the support of others and once I'm into the groove of it, it doesn't feel overwhelming. It doesn't feel, it feels like smooth sailing. I don't know. maybe because I'm a Pisces, it just seems a little interesting to me because it feels like once you get used to it, it's not that big of a deal, even though you're putting in a lot of effort to it. Other people wish they could follow, but they can't. That's another thing too. This is your path. This is how you do it. This is what works for you. I'm getting the moon card with the family, which is telling me other people, they get inspired. They want to do things too. Stay grounded that you have to achieve your goal first. Don't deviate from your plan because somebody else wants to start doing their thing. It's not selfish, it's important. I hope this makes sense. When you start your goal, because I feel like you get so far, you get some support, and then at some point here and there, people are like, well, how about you take a break from that, Virgo, and now I go for my goal. No. You finish, you do your goal, and tell them, once I've attained my goal, then we can do your goal. Not till I've hit my goal, though. We're not going to do that yet. It may sound selfish, but it's not. It's important. Finish your goal first. Don't let somebody derail you, because I feel this coming up for some of you. Hey, hey Virgo, excuse me. Hey Virgo, I think you've gotten enough. I think you should. I think it's my turn to have something, and I would feel like I would come back when I'm finished. Yes, not till I'm done. I'm going to use a baking analogy here. It's kind of like I've mixed up everything into the bowl, and I've just started buttering the pan. We're not going to stop here and just set this aside. I'm going to finish not only pouring the cake into the pan, baking it. I'm going to cool it, and then I'm going to frost it, and I'm going to put it together the way I need to. Once I'm done with all that, and it's like to the point where I can serve it when I'm ready, then we'll go do what you want. Not until I've finished my process, not until I've finished my goal. It's not selfish, it's important. Just keep that in mind, because I feel like there's a little bit of a weird energy, because like some other people want something. Like people start wanting what they want, and that happens. Just tell them, I will help you later when I'm done. I can fully help you then, but you have to wait. Just don't let them derail you. If they pull this thing where they're going to pull back their support because they're going to do what they want to do, just make sure your schedule is strong and fortified to where it doesn't throw you off. Stay on your schedule. I don't feel like they're going to make it. Whoever this is, it might be a passing energy, by the way. It's like they want to go for their goal. It'll last like 2 to 3 weeks, and then they'll give up on that goal. As long as you're still on your path and you're still going, you'll make it through that time. It'll go back to where it was. They'll return to supporting you. Just don't fall for that, because I just feel like it's not like they're trying to be malicious, but I feel like they're trying to throw things up in the air a little bit, and it's not helping you. Tell them, no, when I'm finished with my goal, then I'll help yours. I'm not derailing mine. If they decide they're going to do their thing, I'm telling you, it's not going to last. Let them do what they got to do. Don't let your goal get derailed. Keep going. They'll return. Things will be fine. Is there anything else with this? That was a long one. Like, that was really long. Hopefully that's helpful. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.